This is the review, 5.3 special right triangles, okay? So the big point of this whole unit is drawing angles, angles in different quadrants, and the special right triangles, two special right triangles. This is the first question on your test, your quiz. Look at these two triangles and make sure you can fill these in correctly. If you can't do this question, you're going to miss tons of questions on this test, okay? So this is incumbent, and that's the way the rest of this semester will be. There will be a question like this on the start of the quiz that you have to get right because this is the knowledge you will need to use on this quiz, okay? The first one is a 30-60 triangle. So the way I look about a 30-60 is whatever angle is opposite the hypotenuse, that is 1/2 of the hypotenuse, okay? So 1/2 of the hypotenuse is 1/2, okay? That's how I get that measurement. And then to get the side down here, I multiply that by the square root of 3. So the square root of 3 over 2, okay? That is the special right triangle. That's a 30-60 triangle when the hypotenuse is 1. With a 45-degree triangle, this is the square root of 2 over 2, and this is the square root of 2 over 2 when the hypotenuse is 1, okay? If I know all of this information, then I'll be able to answer any of the questions that come up on this test that deal with those angles, okay? For each angle below, draw the angle and list the quadrant in which the terminal side of the angle lies. So negative 140, so that's 0, that's negative 90, that's negative 180. So that means a negative 140-degree angle is right here, okay? So that is in quadrant 3. So that is my negative 140-degree angle. 135 degrees, 0, 90, 180. That means this angle lies right here. That's my 135-degree angle. It lies in quadrant 2. 390 degrees. Remember, 1 full revolution is 360, so I have to go a little bit further. Okay, so that's 390 degrees. That is in quadrant 1. 280 degrees, so 0, 90, 180, 270. That means this angle goes all the way and just a little bit further into quadrant 4. So that's my 280-degree angle. It lies in quadrant 4 on the terminal side. Find an angle between 0 and 360 that is coterminal with the given angle. So I didn't give you space here, but just draw this out. So part A, negative 20 degrees. So negative 20 degrees is right here. Okay, if I want to find an angle that is coterminal between 0 and 360, I'm looking to find the angle that goes right here. What is that angle? That angle is 360 minus 20. That's a 340-degree angle. So 340 degrees is coterminal to negative 20. Let's look at 400. So that is part B, a 400-degree angle. So a 400-degree angle, so if it goes around, that's 360 right there, and so it's just 40 more, okay? So this is my 400-degree angle. So it's 360 plus 40 is what that is. So that means a 40-degree angle is coterminal to 400. Part C, 768. So 1 revolution is 360. 2 revolutions, that's 720. So if I'm at 720, how much further do I have to go? So 720, if I were to go 48 degrees more, that would put me at 768. So a 48-degree angle is coterminal with 768. Complementary and supplementary angles. The complementary angle of 58, so that's 90 minus 58, that's 32 degrees. The supplementary angle is just 180 minus 58, which is what, no, sorry, back up. So 10 minus 8 is 2, so 122 degrees, okay? So 122 degree angle is a supplementary angle of 58. Locate the terminal side of the angle that's given, and then find the value of the central angle. The central angle is the angle that the terminal side of our angle makes. It's the angle that our terminal side makes with the closest x-axis. So if alpha is 135, that's 0, 90, 180. So a 135 degree angle is right here. So 135 degrees. Okay, the central angle or the reference angle is going to be the closest x-axis. So the closest, here's my terminal side, the closest x-axis is right here. So what is this angle? Okay, well, this angle has to be 180 minus 135, which is 45 degrees. Okay, so 45 degree angle is the central angle. 210 degrees. So 0, 90, 180. So 210 is going to have to be in the third quadrant. So that's what 210 degrees looks like, okay? The central angle, the closest x-axis, that's right here. So what's the difference between 180 and 210? That is 30 degrees. So that has a 30 degree central angle. 300 degrees. So this is 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. So a 300 degree angle goes all the way over here. Okay, that's my 300 degree angle. And the central angle is the closest x-axis. So if I made it to 300, how much further do I have to go to get to 360? That is 60 degrees. So that is a 60 degree central angle. Now, the next thing is talking about using those special right triangles we started out with, okay? So remember, we talked about a 30, 60, 90. So if that's 30 and 60, this is 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. And if I had a 45, 45, that's 1 square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2, okay? So let's find the cosine of 150, okay? So this is 0, that's 90, that is 180, that is 270. Cosine of 150, so 150 is somewhere right in here. So what I will need to do is I need to construct a special right triangle, so with the central angle. So the closest x-axis, that's going to be right here, okay? So I draw a right triangle, and let's just make this side equal to 1. So what is the angle that you see? The central angle here, that is 30 degrees, because 150 plus 30 is 180. If that's 30, this is 60. So what are the values of the other sides? Opposite 30, that's going to be 1/2. And then opposite 60, this is going to be minus square root of 3 over 2. Okay, remember this on the x-axis, this is your negative direction, and that is your positive direction. Now that I've got my triangle labeled correctly, the cosine of 150. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's going to be negative square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2. Okay, So that is negative square root of 3 over 2 times 2 over 1. So negative square root of 3 over 2 times 2 over 1. This is just negative of the square root of 3. Sorry, let me back up. All of that is a mistake. So, sorry. Adjacent over hypotenuse, negative square root of 3 over 1. The hypotenuse is 1, okay? So sorry about that. The answer to this is negative square root of 3 over 2. That is the cosine of 150. Now to find the sine of negative 300. First step is to draw the angle of negative 300. So with negative direction, that's 0, minus 90, minus 180, minus 270. So negative 300 is going to be this direction, okay? So that's negative 300, okay? If that's negative 300, my central angle and the triangle that I draw will be right here. It's always with the x-axis. You never draw it on the y-axis, okay? So if this is negative 300, how much further to make that revolution? That has to be a 60-degree angle, and that is a 30-degree angle, okay? Drawing my special, if this is a 1, opposite the 30 degrees is 1/2. Opposite the 60 is square root of 3 over 2, okay? So then to find the sine, I look at this angle right here. The sine of that angle is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So that is square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1. So square root of 3 over 2 is the sine of negative 300. The tangent of 135. So first thing, draw the angle 135. So when you draw that angle, that's right here. Okay, that is 135 degrees. Okay, then draw a right triangle. So the central angle you see here, this has to be 45 degrees. That makes this 45 degrees as well, because 135 and 45 equal 180. According to my special right triangles, that is 1. That is square root of 2 over 2. That is negative square root of 2 over 2. Okay? So to find the tangent, I look at this angle right here. The tangent is opposite over adjacent. So that is square root of 2 over 2 divided by negative square root of 2 over 2. That is just negative 1. And it looks like we have some more of these fun problems. Determine these exact values. This is all about using special right triangles. The sine of 315. First thing you have to do is to draw that angle of 315 degrees. So that's an angle that ends up over here in the fourth quadrant. So that's 315, okay? If it went all the way around, that would be 360. So 360 minus 315 is 45 degrees. So that tells me that when I draw my right triangle, this is a 45-degree angle. That is a 45-degree angle. So labeling the sides correctly, this is a 1. That is square root of 2 over 2. Negative square root of 2 over 2. And I get my directions, remember? So to get to this, you have to go positive in that square root of 2 over 2 direction, and this is a negative direction. So that's how those get labeled, with the positive and negative. What is the sine? So the sine of this central angle. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So that's negative square root of 2 over 2 divided by 1, which is just negative square root of 2 over 2. That's the sine of 315. Cosine of 150. You draw the angle. So 150, that's this angle right here. And then the central angle, this is 30, this is 60. If this is 1, then I look opposite the 30, that's 1/2, and this is negative square root of 3 over 2. So to find the cosine is the adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse, that's negative square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1, which is just negative square root of 3 over 2. Tangent of 240. So draw the angle. So that angle is 180, and then how much further to get there? I have to go 60 more, okay? So this is my 240 degree angle, but the central angle that it makes is a 60 degree angle because 180 plus 60 is 240. And when I look at this right triangle, that has to be 30. So this is 1. Opposite 30 is the 1/2, so that's a negative 1/2. And this is negative square root of 3 over 2. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So the tangent of this 60 degree angle is going to be negative square root of 3 over 2 divided by negative 1/2. So that is negative square root of 3 over 2 times negative 2 over 1. So the negatives are going to cancel and leave me with positives. The 2's cancel. This is the square root of 3. So the tangent of 240 is the square root of 3. The secant of 210. Same steps we always do. First of all, draw the angle. 90, 180. So to draw 210 is going to be something like this. So that is 210 degrees. And you get to thinking, like, okay, well, that's 180 plus 30. So this is a 30 degree angle. So when I draw a triangle, that's 60. And then I just need to label the sides correctly. If that's a 1, opposite the 30 is a 1/2, and square root of 3 over 2. And to get from the 0 to those points, this is a negative x direction and a negative y direction. So remember the secant. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So remember, if cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, secant is hypotenuse over adjacent, okay? So hypotenuse over adjacent, that's going to be 1 divided by, what is it, negative square root of 3 over 2. So that's just going to be 2 over square root of 3, okay? When you have 1 over a fraction, remember 1 divided by negative square root of 3 over 2, that's the same as 2 over square root of 3. You flip it when you move it to the denominator. Cotangent of 225. Draw the angle. 90, 180. So 225 is somewhere right here. So that's 225. And that is 180 plus 45. So if you look at it, your central angle here is 45. And that makes this angle 45. And then if I label this triangle, square root of 2 over 2 and minus square root of 2 over 2. So to find the cotangent is adjacent over opposite. So that is negative square root of 2 over 2 divided by negative square root of 2 over 2. That is 1. The cosecant of 330. First thing you have to do, draw that angle. So 330 is in this direction. So if that is a 330 degree angle, how much further would I have to go to get to be 360? I would have to go 30 degrees further. That makes this a 30-60 degree triangle. If this side is 1, opposite 30 is 1/2. Opposite the 60 is square root of 3 over 2. And this is a positive x direction and a negative y direction. So the cosecant. The cosecant is 1 over the sine, right? So if the sine is opposite over hypotenuse, the cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite. So that is 1 divided by -1/2, and that is just simply -2. Okay, so I know these look really involved. The key is you've got to know the special right triangle. Everything that we did here came out to be a 45, a 30, or a 60, okay? So every angle that you saw, it came down to being able to draw a triangle and a central angle that worked its way down to being a 45, a 30, or a 60. And that's why it's very crucial that up front, you know how to write the 30, 60, and the 45 triangles, okay? Not only do you know how to write them, but depending on where they occur. So if it occurs over in this quadrant, that is a negative X direction and a negative Y direction. If it occurs in this quadrant, that's a positive X and a negative Y direction. So be sure you get the plus or minus signs correct in labeling these.